Hey, everybody, welcome in. It is time for day 3 from New Orleans, the DLLS Cowboys Podcast. We will visit with our friend Moose Johnston at 11:45, and we've got some optimism to peddle you today, some hopium, if you will. Get on in here. The DLLS Cowboys Podcast starts. Meow. To Cowboy things to talk about today, including visiting with Moose. Okay, Moose. Do you want Moose to be the Cowboys GM? He's done some GM stuff in other leagues. I'd take him over Jerry. I'd take anybody. But it's good to see you guys, and we're going to get this thing rolling. My name is Jeff. Next, holy crap, our camera's HD.
That's nice.
Boy, are we clear today?
I've never watched our show.
Yeah, it's clear.
Put it back on me. John, put it back on me.
No.
That's nice. That's nice. Okay, next to me is the greatest beat writer in the history of the Cowboys, Clarence Hill.
I'm Pop. I'm Unc.
He's
I'm
Unc.
Chill.
He's Unc.
Jerry Jones told me he was the best damn GM in the league. He didn't say that.
That's not what he said.
But he didn't say that.
He said he was the best. Nobody could. Next to him
ever do this job
is the other greatest beat writer in the history of the Cowboys, Joe Hoyt.
Tell him something, Joe.
I decided last night that I'm going to at least call Clarence for the rest of this trip Unc and not Pop. I am relieving him of his Pop duties.
You can't let outside influences change people's nicknames.
Well,
yes, we met somebody older than him. Yes, we met somebody older than him. That doesn't mean he has to stop being Pop.
No, but it was relative, and it was a comparison. There was a perspective there, and you know what? I see the light now, Clarence. For at least for the end of the week, you are Unc.
There you go.
I got
you. At
you.
least be Unc. Can you be Unc? Is that okay with you guys?
Double Unc?
Clarence be Unc. I'm in on that. We had the media party last night. Clarence refused to interview a snake. I think it would have been great after you interviewed the police horse about Luka. I think you should have interviewed the snake.
I don't really do snakes. I'm not a snake guy.
Oh, is that what it was?
No,
I thought you just didn't want to do bits anymore.
Well, I'm not a big guy. I'm definitely not a snake guy.
He's definitely a big guy. He was in bed with you. Am I wrong?
You're up today, by the way.
I'm not going in.
Thanks to our friends at Sleeper, who's presenting this broadcast. We love our friends at Sleeper. And, I've been making videos for them every day. And yesterday's included Clarence, and today's I think it's going to include Joe.
I'm not going to bed.
I am the sleeper.
Not a snake guy. Not a big snake guy.
Segment 1 of the day. Thanks for being here. Please hit the like button. Please make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, DLLS Sports. We show to appreciate you, and we're here. We're here to party. Segment number 1 of the broadcast day. You guys talked to Zack Martin yesterday. You talked to Brandon Aubrey yesterday, and we're here to peddle Cowboys hopium and see if people are willing to accept it.
Potentially.
Maybe. A little bit.
Maybe.
We heard so much about when Schotty was hired, how much player support he had. We hadn't really heard from the players, but Schotty talked about it. Jerry talked about it. Steven talked about it. Got a chance to talk to a couple of players yesterday, and it legitimized some of the hope. I mean, it legitimized their point of view and the talk about how the players really like him, how the players really support him. We talked to Brandon Aubrey, a kicker who really doesn't really interact with the offense coordinator that much.
Should we hear from him?
Yeah, we will. And Zack Martin, but let's play Brandon Aubrey.
New coaching staff, get your impression of Schotty. Certainly you got to work with.
Yeah, he's done a great job communicating with all the players. I know the offensive guys that have worked directly with him absolutely love him, and he's got a sharp mind. He knows football. He's been around it his entire life. Never had an opportunity to be a head coach. So obviously you can't judge anyone at a job until they get a chance to do it. So I think we got to give him a chance and let him roll. I think he's going to be he's going to surprise a lot of people. And I know I pay attention in the media a lot this time of year, being in the Dallas area. So I know he kind of got beaten down in the media, which I don't think is fair. Give him a shot. He's a great football mind, great offensive mind, and I think he'll win a lot of games for us.
I have 6 things to add to what Brandon Aubrey said there.
2 field goals?
Number 1, 2 field goals to add. Number 1, the fact that it's the Bounty setup over there, the paper towels. I don't feel like they have to advertise. Isn't Bounty like tissue paper is not called tissue paper, it's called Kleenex. And I know we don't call paper towels Bounty, but all there is the generic store brand and Bounty.
I think
why are they advertising?
I think there's a couple more.
Yeah, there's Scott. There's a couple more.
There's some green companies too, trying to be like,
Yeah, that's fair. I did make a New Year's resolution to be kinder to kickers. and remember that they matter and that they're people. So I'm not going to be dismissive of what Brandon Aubrey thinks of the next head coach. That's growth.
Wow, I'm proud of you.
Well,
Thank you.
And he's mad at the media. I heard what you guys were saying, and people are saying about him. It's just not fair. You're not fair. Give him a chance.
All right, solo cam. Hit me, John.
Oh, here comes
Give
the
him a
rant.
chance.
Here comes the rant.
Listen, Bobs. That's B-Ob. Bobs.
Oh.
Listen here, Bobs.
That's a new one.
I don't know who's talking bad about Schotty. We're talking bad about Jerry. Okay? It's about Jerry. I'll say it over and over again. 2 ways to grade a head coaching hire. Process and then later. Process F-. I hope the hire's an A+. We have no idea. There is no guarantee that Ben Johnson's going to be a great coach. There is no guarantee that Brian Schottenheimer is going to be great or fail or whatever. I hope he is awesome. I have no you're a bad coach in me.
Yeah.
I have no idea the job he's going to do as a play caller or as a head coach here. His play caller record isn't great. It's not awful. His ability as a head coach, who the hell knows? He doesn't know. We'll see. I mean, it's positive. I like to hear from players that they like a guy or believe in a guy or whatever. I don't know how much that ultimately means. It's can you coach? Can you motivate? Can you connect people? Can you call good plays?
Right.
But, I mean, it's better than if he said, I hate that guy.
Yeah, well, and I know one thing we've been kind of talking about with Schotty is the fact that, like, yeah, I think offensive guys like him, but so do defensive guys. Special teams guys clearly have a good relationship with him. We also talked with Zack Martin, and he kind of reiterated some of that too.
New coaching staff, get your impression of Schotty. Certainly, you got to work with him, and I know we surprised him coming out of nowhere to be a head coach.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for him, man. He, he's made an impression on that building the last couple of years, and I think what he does really well is he does a great job of having relationships in the building with everyone, and whether it be an offensive player or defensive player, whatever it may be. So I know that's kind of at the forefront of what he wants to, bring to the organization is those relationships within the team and throughout the people who work there, and I think he'll do a great job at that.
I keep coming back to this is show business, not show friends.
Oh, so you're going to do a little hating right now?
I'm not hating.
Do you want to solo cam? Do you want to rant?
You got a little hate in your heart you want to get out?
No, I'm just saying this is show business, not show friends. And yes, we like Schotty. Who doesn't like Schotty? I talk to people, and we're probably going to do some, talk Brian Costello, New York Post, a writer who covers Schotty with the Jets. Everybody likes Schotty.
That's great.
He said he was a bad coordinator. He said he never thought he'd be a head coach.
Oh.
And he's surprised he became a head coach.
Oh.
But we all like him. Is that the criteria? Is that the criteria to be the head coach?
No.
Because we like him, because he talks to people, because he connects with people, because he's a great communicator? When did that become line item number one to be the head coach of the freaking Dallas Cowboys?
No, to your point, it should be more than that. But I also think that in today's NFL world, you look at the guys like Dan Campbell who are able to unify a locker room and motivate people. You kind of want that for your coach, too. That has to be a criteria. Obviously, he hasn't called plays in 2 years, and I think that's a big question mark. We talked with Chris Sims about that yesterday, about whether he can actually adapt and be a good play caller. But in terms of being a guy that the locker room likes, I do think that that's genuine, and I think that actually is an asset for a head coach. Obviously, it's his first time doing it, though, and so we'll see.
I know who they like. They like winners, okay?
Yeah.
I don't think the locker room liked Bill Parcells.
They didn't like Jimmy.
They didn't like Jimmy. They didn't like
No,
Bill
facts.
Belichick. He wasn't out there palling around and connecting and creating relationships and bonding with guys. That's not line one of what it takes to be a successful head coach.
But that is the trickle down. I'm not ranting today.
Whoa.
That is the trickle down of
I'm
not surprised that they are going to have head coaches that everybody likes, because part of the criteria to get that job is to have Jerry Jones like you.
Yeah.
It's not about finding the best guy. It's about his comfort zone, the people that he likes. He loves his family and friends. And, that's where we are. But I'm not going to rant about it. I'm just going to bitch about it a little bit.
I mean, come on.
You can rant
Because
about
I'm tired. I'm tired.
We're all
I want
tired.
Schotty to be a really good coach. I want them to have a nice offseason. I want them to kick everybody's ass. I don't want to be on Radio Row while the Philadelphia Eagles are getting ready to play the Super Bowl. That grinds my gears, if you will. And I want the Cowboys to be awesome. But it is so hard to be awesome when the man in charge is mostly concerned with optics, appearances, popularity, making money, his comfort zone. It's hard. And it kind of makes me want to really shout out Will McClay and the scout. Like the last couple of years, you don't get a shout out. But I mean, the fact that they have been, as they would call it, hanging around the rim, and they win 12 games a bunch of years, considering that coaches are coaching with an arm tied behind their back, they're not looking for the best ones. Jerry's bitching about how many people he has to pay on a coaching staff. Yeah. Like, it's a lot. There's a lot of challenges in Dallas, which that's why Schotty has the job. Yeah. A lot of people are not down for the obstacles, or they're not down for the, you don't pay market value for a head coach that's actually coveted in the NFL, and that's how Schotty got the job. So, like, that's not me killing Schotty. I hope he does great. But, yeah, you got the job because it's a very unique scenario.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to put a light on the whole being – like, I'm not trying to magnetize, like, hey, if you're well-liked, that's going to be a good thing. Because this whole time I've been thinking the words that Joe Trahan said on our show, good friend of the pod.
Which Joe Trahan?
Not the one we saw last night. Joe Trahan, WFAA.
How are they in your phone, Clarence? Joe Trahan. How do you differentiate?
Joe Trahan Channel 8.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how you got to do it.
I'm just curious.
But he talked about on our show about how the likability is cool and all, right? Until things, to your point, start going bad, right? And then you start wondering if you're a player in that locker room, like, hey, they didn't even make a run at Ben Johnson. They didn't even make a run at Aaron Glenn. These guys that might be doing, what if they start doing well in other places too? And if you start to struggle right at the gate, that likability can diminish very quickly.
Right, that's one reason why people hate the Luka Donka trade. Okay.
Did you say Luka Donka?
Donkish.
You said
Luka
Donka?
Badonka?
You said Donka?
Tonka? Badonka Donka?
Harrison didn't talk to anybody else. Okay?
No.
He didn't canvass it. He didn't see if he could get a better deal from someone else.
He wanted Kevin Durant.
So
he should be fired today. He is the new.
Okay,
give him a shot. Give him a shot.
It is hard to be the worst GM in DFW, but he took that title in one day.
I understand that, but the same package is why we're mad at Jerry, because he didn't canvass other people. He didn't, look at other people. And so, yes, not about Schotty, but Schotty's part of the process. So you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
No doubt. Okay? He's a symptom.
He's part of the process. He got the job because of a writing process. So he's going to get some of that dirt. That's right, wrong, and different. That's what it is. He's going to get some of that dirt. But my thing is, we keep talking about they hung around the rim. Did they? Were they really around the rim? No, the Eagles were around the rim. They've been to the Super Bowl, didn't get there. The 49ers were around the rim. They got to the Super Bowl. Making the playoffs is not around the rim.
Okay, so
you're in the lane. You at the free throw line. You ain't at the rim.
They weren't on the rim.
You ain't at the rim.
They can't Michael Jordan stretch?
Back in my day when I could, dunk those 8-foot goals.
Yeah, 8 foot.
I was going to say, make sure you clarify that.
I was so waiting to see how that sentence ended when I could dunk.
When they do those Michael Jordan, with dunks on the 8-foot goal.
Yeah.
You want to win, you have to. That's around the rim, okay? That's when you throw an alley-oop and I'm there. I just didn't finish it. They weren't close. They're not around the rim.
Maybe you're right. While that was happening, I was giving them credit for being in that area where it's just like, look, if you win 12 games, that counts.
You don't consider that around the rim, 3 straight years of 12 wins?
No, you're in the lane. Around the rim is getting to the championship game. That's around getting to the Super Bowl. That's around the rim. That's like putting it in. You're close to putting the ball, dunking the ball in. When somebody sets you up alley-oop and you're ready because it's tailor-made, that's around the rim. Getting to the playoffs is not around the rim.
You don't consider the idea that if Tony Pollard doesn't get hurt against the 49ers, maybe that they win that game? That's not around the rim?
If it was a fifth,
we'd all be drunk. But that's what I'm saying. When you're
that's
around
not
the rim,
around the rim.
When you're around the rim, you have a couple contingencies if they go one way or the other.
Around the rim was just a nice little buzzword that the PR staff gave them.
Well, that's 100%
and
true.
Why does their buzzwords have to be from different sports? Like, you already play a sport. Be like, we're on the goal line.
We're going to hit the 1 yard line.
Whatever.
And we pitched it backwards like damn Sark. Anyway, that still hurts.
That is how you know that somebody in PR fed them that, where it's like, around the rim. Like, a basket. And it's like, we already are in a sport. Why don't we just use ours?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You weren't around the rim. I'm sorry. That's not around the rim.
Maybe they weren't. In the chat, were they around the rim?
Were they at the goal line?
Buffalo's been around the rim, okay?
Buffalo, kinda.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Pat Mahomes sends them home.
They get to the championship. They've been around the championship game.
Around the rim?
Yeah, Baltimore. They won the championship game last year.
Baltimore around the rim.
Well,
if Dallas is not around the rim, Baltimore's not around the rim.
Stop it. Baltimore was in the championship game.
I'm on Clarence's side here, but I don't even know for sure how far each of those teams got. I just consider Lamar and Josh's teams closer.
Yeah, they are closer.
But how close?
They've gotten the championship games. Both of them.
I mean,
the Cowboys have not gotten to the championship game. They've not won more than one playoff game in any playoff scenario.
They're on third base, okay?
No.
There's another other sports
They're
reference.
on third base and they're stealing home.
They're
Like
stealing
Jet
home.
Rodriguez and
Bang.
Sandlot.
That's
They
a great
got
reference.
thrown out trying to steal third with 2 outs. Okay? You never get thrown out trying to steal third with 2 outs.
They got picked off.
That's the problem. They weren't stealing home.
Jeremy in the chat was asking if we were going to talk about what Hendershot said, and you bet your ass it comes from the guys who talked to him who are sitting right here. So, yeah, we do have more Cowboys culture stuff is out there in the media. But first, I don't know. I planned to sell hopium in the first segment. We failed. We came up short.
It's kind of telling.
But we're going to try again with a couple other guys that were visited with by our fantastic squad right here. Optimism they can get the run game back on track from guys who would know. That's next on the DLLS Cowboys Podcast.
Around the rim.
You know, we talk a lot about hanging around the rim, but I love the rims of our ice shaker bottles. You know,
Okay.
those things are fantastic. It was a kind of a weak segue, but anyways, the ice shaker bottles are so good. They were created by the Gronkowski brothers. You can get the Cowboys one. We don't have it here, but I know that Jeff loves to do the little shake. Let me see the. Yep, there you go. Yeah, get
I
a
like
little,
to have two shakers.
two shakers.
I'm a two-shaker guy.
Two shakers. So you get the ice shakers, you get the Cowboys logo on that, you get any logo on that. They're licensed with the NFL, the NHL, NBA, NCAA, and Major League Baseball. It's the ideal gift. They've already sold over 1 million. They're kitchen-grade stainless steel bottles that won't absorb odors like plastic bottles do. They're third-party tested, will hold ice for 30-plus hours. Customizable, as we just mentioned. You can get any team you want. You want to get Texas? You can go get Texas, okay? The agitator that's inside of it works as a strainer, and it's very solid tailgating cup if you want to do some mixed drinks as well.
Agitator.
The agitator right
Agitator.
here. You are the agitator. Order your team brand and bottle set at iceshaker.com and use the code ALLCITY25 for 25% off your orders. Ice Shakers, show your support for your teams with the best branded workout bottles on the market. Ice Shakers.
Holla at our guys at Game Time as well. Boy, now would be a great time because when somebody destroys a franchise in one fell swoop, it's a great time to buy tickets to a game because you're going to get great prices.
Buy
Download
low.
the Game Time app if you want to go to a sporting event, if you want to go to a concert, if you want to go to a comedy show, whatever it is, our guys at Game Time, it is the best app in the business for this. And with the promo code DLLS on the Game Time app, you can get $20 off your first purchase, which I bet is more than some tickets cost right now to see a certain team that's been destroyed by the general manager. I hope you do great, Anthony Davis. You don't deserve to be a villain here. But Game Time is the app that you need. DLLS is the promo code that you need. You can turn on the all-in pricing where you won't have the surprise fees at the end. You can get seat views right there in the app where you can see what it looks like from your seat. Promo code DLLS with our friends at Game Time. $20 off. What time is it?
Game time.
Woo! All right.
You don't do a cat on game time.
Why? What's wrong with cats?
It's not a. It's because it's a bit. It's the tradition. Game time. Roo.
Have you ever seen?
Going back to the Bulls.
Have you ever seen the rant of the Coastal Carolina coach back in the day?
Yes,
yes,
I love it.
Cat in the house.
Want to be
cat
a
in the house.
dog? Want to be a dog? Be a dog.
I got my extra bands on. I got my other shoes.
give
It's
you
a
a
great
jingle.
rant.
If you
Look
want
it
to be a
up.
dog, be a dog.
Okay, we failed last segment, and I'd like to apologize. The idea was that there are people who really like and believe that Brian Schottenheimer can do this, and then we accidentally went the other way. This time, I think we have a better chance at selling you some hope here.
Yeah, I think you guys like this guy.
We're going to try to get the Cowboys' run game back on track, which is a weird thing to say because Rico did average, 4.6 last year,
Yeah.
and that's a respectable yards per carry. I would like a guy on the team that can make more explosive plays.
How many rushing touchdowns?
What do you have,
Two?
I would like to score tutties, and I would like more big plays, but if you told me the Cowboys' running back was going to average 4.6, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. But we're trying to get this thing back on track because once you factor in the other guy who was terrible, the running backs probably averaged overall like 3 point something.
Wait, other guy?
Before.
Another guy.
They had another guy on the team that they handed the ball to sometimes.
Was it like a committee?
Who does not plan to retire, from what I understand.
Hell yeah. Who's
Go
going to
get
lead
that
the Super
ring.
Bowl?
He was initially supposed to be going to Detroit,
Yeah. Did you see him on the Chargers playoff run?
and he was going to
Well,
play
he
for the
crushed it.
Chargers.
Did you actually see him on the sideline? I didn't.
No, he wasn't active, was he?
No, but like
He's on practice squad.
But they still have guys on the sideline, right?
Oh, I don't know. Do practice squad guys go on the sideline chill?
Yeah.
yeah,
They're out there?
yeah,
That's nice.
yeah,
I want to be a practice squad guy.
yeah.
I like
Make some
this, huh?
money. Because you were that close.
No, you had to start here. I was this
close, and then we extend.
close.
Yep.
Yeah, you were that
I like how
close.
Chris Sims somehow knew the bit.
I know he
On
kept
how
going.
close
I was like, good for you, man.
But you guys have been killing it out here on Radio Row in New Orleans. You guys are monsters. And
Thank
so
you.
yesterday, we mentioned you talked to Zack Martin. We played some of it. We have one more thing from Zack Martin. But we also have something from Will Hernandez, noted former UTEP minor. Guard. He's a guard. Dude is built like a house.
With an excellent mustache, too.
A house. Yeah, he kind of had the evil thing going
Yeah,
on.
it was good.
But he was an offensive lineman under the Cowboys' new offensive coordinator, former offensive line coach for the Cardinals. And so maybe we can find some optimism there. We think we like that hire. We think that you can get better offensive line play and development. We think we like the hire. And so here is Will Hernandez, and he is talking about the run scheme, the ability to mash people in the face. He's gonna peddle some hopium.
Everyone thinks of ground and pound as just physical, and obviously you guys were that too. But also, it's almost rhythmic and beautiful the way you guys move and counter. How do you think about that, and how does Klayton kind of get the most of you guys in terms of organizing that kind of chaos and making it rhythmic?
Yeah, you're exactly right. You want to sprinkle in different types of running. At the end of the day, if you're running the ball, you're running the ball. But it's not all just straight down the middle, you know? And this is why he understands almost of a little bit of a new school with the old school mentality mix. It's a great mix. And especially in today's game, he knows exactly kind of how to play with that system. But, you know, he kind of has an idea of what people are, how they're going to defend it. And he has answers to almost pretty much everything.
All right, I'm going to start remembering his name pretty soon. Klayton Adams, the new Cowboys offensive coordinator.
Yes.
Clayton.
I do enjoy hearing. That one sells me a little bit, although I don't know that I needed to be sold on him as much. It is another guy going into a position with the Cowboys that he's never held before.
Yeah.
But I will take that. If my head coach is my real offensive coordinator, I'll take using the OC role to hire somebody that I think can help me in a different way. And if that way is we can make your run scheme less predictable, we can make it more varied, we can make it everything looks the same except it's totally different. Like that is how the good teams run the ball in the NFL, and the Cardinals have been good at it without great personnel. And the Cardinals have been good at that. So hearing a former player talking about Klayton Adams, the new OC, I like it. I like that hire as long as Schottenheimer is a good actual OC. I like that hire because if you can get the most out of, I think we mentioned this yesterday. Name the Cardinals O-line. Nobody can do it.
No.
But they're one of the better running teams in football.
Yeah.
Right,
And now they do have Kyler. That helps.
Yeah, but if you look at the numbers outside of Kyler, they're still over 4 yards to carry. The thing about
Over
Klayton
5.
Adams is it's not he's the OC in name only. He's really the run game coordinator,
Right, which is fine.
He's here to scheme up the run game, like they did in Arizona. That's why they're here to focus on the run. And everybody you talk to loves what he did with the Arizona run game and thinks he can bring that to the Cowboys. And that's one reason why Zack Martin, the guy that we talked to earlier, he talked about Schotty. Clearly, Zack is at a point of his career. He may retire. Certainly, he had one of the worst seasons of his career. Was put on injury reserve with the ankle injury, had ankle surgery. He's going to take another month or so, let his ankle heal before he decides what he wants to do. Keep in mind that he's a free agent. Cowboys have a $26 million cap hit for him next year, which is one of the reasons they talk about all of our cap issues because we have so much into guys who are no longer going to be on this team.
Yeah, the Eagles have that on theirs too, and they're going to keep signing people.
Yep.
$26 million for a guy not on the team. That's still a big number.
Yeah.
Still a big number.
Yeah.
But when we talked to him, he talked about the excitement of the run game and how it has him thinking about coming back. But let's listen to Zack Martin talk about Klayton Adams.
You see them emphasize the run game more, and Brian, what does he bring to that run game?
Yeah, I do. Obviously with his track record there, a lot of people point to when he was the coordinator with the Jets and they ran the football very effectively and made some runs there in the playoffs. But, yeah, he's committed to the run game and then working off that run game. And I think some of the hires, I got a chance to talk with Coach Klayton the other night.
You did.
A couple of the other guys they've hired, and they're very committed to that style of football and running the football to establish our identity as a football team.
Does the fact that I'm gonna tell you guys a secret. I have believed for about a calendar year that Zack Martin is absolutely done playing football.
Yep.
Yeah.
Does the fact that he's talking to the new coaching hires make you think that he's might actually consider?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, but the thing, too, and he talked about this yesterday, I mean, he is a free agent as well.
Oh, yeah. Why is he talking to a guy that got hired by the Cowboys? He's not on the Cowboys anymore.
I know, but he's making it kind of known, like, the decision he thinks is with him, right? That he says, hey, we're going to take the next 6 weeks, and he talked about, hey, I know what it takes to be an elite guy in this league, and I know what not only physically you have to go through, but mentally. I'm going to think about if I actually want to do it. But to your point, I mean, he's talking to Klayton Adams. That's at least a connection.
Yeah.
And Adams has him excited, so I guess we can see if maybe that could maybe get him back, but who knows?
And not just talking to Adams, he's talking to Schotty. He said he talked to Schotty, and he said one thing we cut off the cameras, he said that Schotty's really excited about Adams. He's talked to Schotty a lot, and he's really excited about Adams, what Adams can bring. So, yeah, he's a free agent. He can go anywhere, but he's doing rehab with the Cowboys, so he's also up for. He's still representing.
Because he's under contract until whenever.
And he's representing the Cowboys at the Super Bowl. Certainly here, he's up for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award and doing some things with the Medal of Honor Museum and some things like that. So he's still connected to the Cowboys, and certainly he has that relationship. But he likes Klayton. He likes what they're doing, and he said it has him interested in coming back. We'll see.
One word that I really liked, too, that Zach used was identity, and that they want the identity to be the running the game. So, I mean, I think that tells you in terms of Dak Prescott, we talk about how he can't move like he used to, right? And today's NFL, you got to be able to be mobile, and that's not really his game in terms of being a Kyler Murray-type guy. But you're going to have to run the ball and do play action to kind of help out Dak Prescott. It also makes me think that maybe there might be an investment not only in offensive line, but potentially running back.
Are you trying to make this about Ashton Jeanty?
No, I didn't say Jeanty. What if they come back?
Are you trying to make this about Ashton
What if they bring back
Jeanty?
Rico Dowdle?
Is that an investment?
That's not an investment.
What if they get Rico Dowdle and Caleb Johnson or Amari and Hampton?
That's not.
I love
That's
Amari
not
and
an
Hampton. Amari on Hampton, North Carolina, second round. You have him available? Put him on my team. We'll start mashing people.
If you're going to make the connection, just make the connection. Boise State coach, Boise State alum.
What? Who?
Klayton Adams.
Klayton Adams.
Oh, is he really?
He's a Boise State alum.
Oh, crap. It's going down, isn't it?
It's going down.
I
It's
say,
going
oh, crap.
down in the Jeanty.
Boise State
It's going down in the Jeanty.
I say it like I would hate it. I wouldn't hate it. It's not. It wouldn't be my favorite pick because me and running backs. But Ashton Jeanty's so good at football.
Also, we talked to someone at the
So
media
good.
party last night, and the one thing they told me is like, hey, man, you got to stop with the Jeanty. You got to stop. So I'm sorry.
Was that Yogi? Was
It
everybody Yogi?
No, it wasn't Yogi.
Oh,
No, it wasn't Yogi.
I don't know how you get.
Shout out Yogi, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to Yogi. I don't know how you get in the media party if you're not meaty. If you're not media, but
I
met
wondered
a
that.
lot of listeners.
Yeah, and they like the show, and so thank you guys. That's awesome.
I think you get paid to get in. There are a lot of people from the city who are here. So
Okay, Yogi was
okay.
balling.
It wasn't just media there.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, it was fun. I will be interested to see. Do they bring back Rico? Like I was perusing your generic NFL content on the internet yesterday, and it was like one thing for everybody's offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And for the Cowboys, I think they went with go double barrel at running back.
I love that.
Yeah.
Bring back Rico and
Draft a guy.
go draft you a dude because I like Rico. Like Rico appears to be a starting NFL running back, and if the price isn't a lot, well, then that's right up the Cowboys' alley. We can quote fill the hole there. Do it for fairly cheap, and then maybe get the guy for the next 4 years in the draft also. Let's party.
It's interesting that
It better be interesting.
It better
is
be
interesting that all these guys who are free agents, Brandon Aubrey, potentially can get a new contract this offseason. He has a new agent.
He's got 1 year left, but he hired Dak's agent.
He has
so-
No trade clause, no tag clause.
So he has Dak's agent. You talk about Oseo Digizua, you talk about Jordan Lewis, you talk about Rico. They're all going to want to maximize their earnings. This is their chance. They're free agents.
No doubt.
We want to get the most we can get. And we got Steven worried about the pie and paying Micah and having to re-sign these guys.
At the end of the day.
Everybody's trying to get to maximize their earnings right now. So how will it all fit together? Yes, they can bring back Rico, but what is Rico going to cost?
If I were Rico, I don't think I would be doing the Cowboys any favors.
No.
Because the
No.
first 8 weeks of that season would have pissed me off.
100% when they were
Rico
doing the
Dowdle
committee.
knew he was the best running back on the team. It was clear as day.
We knew.
We knew on the first day of
Training camp,
It was
yeah.
proven over and
Zeke
over
doesn't know that.
every day.
Zeke still doesn't know that.
Well, and there are some, and God bless you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. There are some Zeke fans that still think that he's a star player.
Yeah.
Like, Zeke hasn't been a star player in 4 years.
No.
He's done. He might be somebody's goal line back if somebody wants to carry a third active or fourth active running back for no reason.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if I were Rico, it's like, you don't have to be competitive. You have to pay me the most because you guys kind of effed me over the course of the season. All right, coming up next on the DLLS Cowboys podcast, we got a shocker for you. Yet another player talking Cowboys culture is next right here on the DLLS Cowboys podcast. Unless Moose is coming over right
Do you
now.
wanna do
No, he's coming to 11.
Oh, okay,
I
you
think he
going
has something
over
right next to
Gotcha.
us.
And then Moose, but next is culture. Let's get it.
I'm just making sure.
You know what I love?
Clarence making sure.
Yeah, I was going
just
to say
talking,
that.
throwing headsets
I'll
around.
be honest, that kind of threw me off for a second. I love just college football, and I love all the things that go into college football, but I'm sorry, Jeff, they don't have Abilene Christian yet as Saturday Neon, but
They
they
need
got
to.
a lot of different things at Saturday Neon. Saturday Neon's awesome. It's started by two college friends and buddies that make officially licensed collegiate logo LED neons. You want your man cave, you want your she shed to have a lot of your alumni swag. You know, they got the Oregon one. I checked it out. It's pretty sweet. You got Texas, A&M, Oklahoma State. The LEDs last up to 100,000 hours, so you'll be enjoying those signs for years to come. They're super easy to install. They got low voltage, and they are the perfect gift for any season. You know, and even though college football season's kind of coming or is over, the NFL is doing its thing. Head on over to SaturdayNeon.com and use the code DLLS for 10% off your favorite sign. That was DLLS for 10% off your favorite sign.
All right, shout out to our friends at Sleeper. We love us some Sleeper. All you got to do is make your picks. Is so-and-so going to have more or less than their projected stats in any given game? You can do it in football with passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, receptions. Will somebody score a touchdown? Things like that. All you got to do is say more or less. You can do it in basketball, hockey, baseball.
For what?
It's not baseball time yet for Sleeper.
But you get some goalies.
Yes, you can do the baseball. Yeah. And so, if you're a sports person and you like to have a little fun, make those picks on the Sleeper app. And if you use the promo code DLLS Boys as a new user right there on Sleeper, you are going to get the hookup. And that hookup is $55 in plays if you put in a $5 contest. And so use the promo code DLLS Boys when you download the Sleeper app. Get yourself hooked up and have yourself a time. Check out Sleeper today. All right. Cowboys culture. The standard.
The standard.
You know my favorite thing about the Cowboys culture stuff?
Tell us.
Is some of y'all. Some of y'all are my favorite thing. Or it's like every time that somebody leaves the Cowboys and says something about the Cowboys, you have some of the fans who are like, oh, that person's just bitter. Oh, that person's just a hater. Oh, that person's just whatever. Warren Sapp's over there.
Yeah.
Clarence was staring him down.
And then the 900th player that leaves and says that it's still the same thing. Well, he's probably just a hater. He's probably just a bitter guy. As if there's not truth and it's not relevant to the way that things happen in football, what goes on with the Cowboys. So Peyton Hendershot was let go by the Cowboys, so he's probably just a bitter Betty.
Yeah.
But you guys chatted with Hendo. And let's just hear Peyton Hendershot talking about going to a new football team.
What's the difference in the two organizations? Certainly having your first-hand experience with the Cowboys and the disappointment in Kansas City with all these titles.
I would say just, it's just about football when you get in there, and they just have such a good culture set of, like, every day they attack the day as it's the same. They don't look forward to tomorrow. We never really once talked about the Super Bowl. It's just about coming out today and getting better today. If we keep doing that over the course of the season, we'll be where we want to be.
You talk about the culture, all the things, the tours and the camps in California. Kansas City is all football. You don't have that sort of thing?
I mean, I'm not going to throw no strays or nothing, but, it's just when you get here, it's just football. It's football, so it's not that Dallas isn't, but just when I got here, I could really just feel that everybody was here to win, and that's all it was about winning.
You got to always throw the little caveat in there, like, hey, no shade. This isn't about Dallas. They're good, too.
Well, yeah, because he saw when Dalton Schultz said the exact same things, that everybody on the internet gets mad at Dalton Schultz. And so it's like, well, I'm not trying to, but yeah.
That is a thing.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think sometimes that's cool for a Cowboy fan, where like you are the glitz and glamour and you are the popular team and people want to see you lose. Like, it's fun to be in that position. But yeah, when your ultimate goal is all I want is the sports team that I care about to do all the things that are to win the football games, like, we ain't it. And that's unfortunate.
Right. It's about winning, and certainly they have their Taylor Swifts.
But that's just someone's girlfriend.
I know, it's someone's girlfriend, but they lean into it. The whole league is leaning into it. The Taylor Swifts and all those stuff.
You'd be foolish not to put her on camera if she's at the game.
No, don't disagree. But yeah, it is all about football. But they don't really go out of their way as an organization to try to make headlines. Just to kind of pulling back the curtain a little bit, as part of the Pro Football Writers Association. And, I'm really good friends with Calvin White, who's the president of the Pro Football Writers Association.
Shout out, Calvin.
President. You need to run against him.
I'm the local Dallas president. But the Chiefs,
my president.
Chiefs media complained last week that the Chiefs did not make anybody available. They only had one availability the week before the Super Bowl. And they had practice, they don't have one. So it's not like the Cowboys who make a point to be available and be accommodating to the media. The Chiefs don't really go out of their way to be accommodating to the media. They don't have to, because the media's going to come because they're Super Bowl champions. It's all about football.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say, they don't go out of their way to be media darlings. Even though Patrick Mahomes is great on TV, great with the media, but Andy Reid is great. Certainly, we love this punt, pass, and kick photo from years that he likes to use.
I love Andy Reid's commercials. Andy Reid, when he does food commercials, I don't even remember what they do it for, but when he's always just wanting all the chicken tendies.
I'm kind of over it.
Yeah. Oh, no!
Yeah.
I'm kind of over it.
And he wants to buy you a cheeseburger and all that stuff. He leans into that, but they don't really lean into that. It is all about football. It's not about selling. And listen, talking to Jerry Jones, talking to his family, they have a two-pronged focus: to sell the Cowboys and to win games. The Chiefs organization is not focused on selling. They're focused solely on winning.
Yeah.
And the selling comes with the winning.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up too, because when you have two focuses, you're spreading yourself thin, right? When
what if you have like 100 businesses you run, but you insist on being the GM of the football team?
100%.
As my mama said, you can't serve two masters.
Yeah, you can't. And the Cowboys, they win their Super Bowl when they get the Forbes list every single year. That's hey, $10 billion. That's your Super Bowl, right? Kansas City Chiefs are actually playing in the Super Bowl. And we talked about it, too. Even go back to the Eagles as well. We talked with Jeffrey Lurie, too, at Media Night, too. And one thing he kind of kept talking about was, we just will do whatever it takes to win. We are fans of what other teams do. We try to look at how other organizations run in terms of hiring people and in terms of making moves to try and get to the next level. Clearly, they show it, too. It's not all talk. They show it. The Cowboys have had chances to show it, and they haven't. So all-in can only go so far when there's not action to go with your all-in.
Yeah. Tell them, Clarence, what didn't they do last year?
They didn't go all in. They didn't.
Who didn't they call, Clarence?
They didn't even call Derrick Henry.
They did not call or Saquon Barkley. Let's be honest. Both of them were available to be called.
They didn't call Will Shipley.
They didn't call and they didn't call Ben Johnson. Okay, let's be honest. They still ain't all in. On the focus of the coaching staff. So
and they likely won't call Myles Garrett either, or the Browns about Myles Garrett.
Yeah, no, probably not. And that one I get it. If you were just like, I don't think we can have the two highest paid defensive players in the history of the league.
But
why technically, you could.
But why not?
You absolutely could. Like, I could pull up a spreadsheet on our show and show you.
Are you carrying water for the cap?
Look, you can
listen.
Google me. I talk about
the
Jerry.
49ers paid one of the Bosa brothers, and they paid their top defensive lineman at the same time. They paid their linebacker Fred Warner. You can do what you want to
Buckner.
do.
Also, look what the Dodgers are doing in baseball, too, right? They are a very prominent brand. They are
no cap.
No cap. I know there's no cap.
Well, there is kind of.
There's a luxury tax.
Like they had to have Ohtani defer a bunch of money so that they could dodge the highest luxury tax.
There's a luxury tax, but they are paying it. They keep throwing money at the wall.
They'll pay cash.
They will pay for it.
Yeah,
right?
they'll pay cash.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing you have to do to super manipulate the NFL salary cap, is you have to be willing to write checks. Eric Kendricks and Saquon Barkley made the same amount this year.
Yes.
According to the salary cap. They made the same amount. So it was like, oh, we couldn't afford Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley was a $3.5 million player or something like that last year.
Yeah.
You pay later, you pay cash up front on a signing bonus, and that's the difference. And if you're really thinking you can win a Super Bowl or not, if you don't think you're contending or you don't, I don't want to say you don't want to contend, because they want to win.
But they want to win on their way and by
Correct.
doing it financially in their own avenues.
They would like to win without spending as much cash and without risking being relevant 6 years from now. Like the Eagles are operating in a way that is desperate to win. Because I think they know the Eagles have the best team in football. Patrick Mahomes is way better than Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
The Eagles have the best team in football. So I think they are existing in this space where they know if we want to win a Super Bowl, we will be out quarterbacked.
Yeah.
We have to have a better team than everybody else.
Yeah.
And so they've built it because they were willing to. And part of that is drafting. And the Cowboys, normally they do.
Yeah.
Last couple of years, not so good. You have to get that back on track. And then you have to have a front office that is desperate to win. This one's not. Because what would be the point?
Yeah.
What do they win? What changes for the Cowboys if they win a Super Bowl?
From a business perspective,
they become the most valuable franchise in sports, huh?
Yeah.
No,
They're already there.
they become legitimate with fan bases.
Yeah, but
Right, but does it
is
does
that
it matter?
their goal?
Does that matter?
It should matter. It should
should.
matter.
I agree.
It's
It
this
should.
30-year narrative, this little drought,
Yeah.
this little narrative. And I talk about servitude masters, and to me, you really serve the master you feed the most. They feed the master of selling and marketing more so than they feed the master of being the best at football.
Why are you taking shots at Jerry Jones Jr.?
I'm just saying.
The marketing department?
I was going to say.
Selling,
He feeds
marketing,
him more than Steven?
merchandising.
I don't know. Steven's a little thicker, isn't he? Which one's bigger, Steven or Jerry Jr.?
In terms of
size?
Yeah.
Steven's bigger.
Okay, so Steven's getting fed more. The football side's getting fed more than the marketing side.
I am glad you brought up, though, the difference between salary cap and active cash spending, because the Cowboys, yes, they've had salary cap stuff, right? They in terms of, you look at that, they are at the highest in the league it's around the highest in terms of where they are in terms of their deficit in the cap. They got to make some moves to get under the cap this offseason, even going into it, right? But active cash spending, they are always at the bottom of the league.
Yeah. And now recently they're not at the bottom because of what happened with the way they dealt with Dak, and then they just signed CD. So those are big signing bonuses, but that's not how they operate. That just happens to be what's happened the last couple of years, because they're never going to walk away from a franchise quarterback because that keeps you relevant. That had to be done.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb is a no-doubter. Micah Parsons is a no-doubter. It's outside of your no-doubters that are homegrown. How aggressive are you in building your team? And the answer for the Cowboys is not at all.
Yeah. Also, if you wanted to win,
Put Chill in.
Put Chill in.
Put Chill in.
Or Unk.
But don't let two.
I should have been the coach.
Coach of what?
What do you want to
Cowboys. I've been there long enough. Got familiarity, consistency.
What's your first play call?
Yeah.
I want to hear the verbiage.
What's your offensive philosophy?
39 quarterback sweep, baby. 39 was my
Dak
favorite play, huh?
Dak just lost a leg.
You're trying to get Dak hurt
calling
again.
that play.
He's a big man, man. He can power over people. Just use your body.
Tell him to run slow.
Okay, the guy that got Dak Prescott's hamstring to come off because you've talked him into running.
That was my favorite play when I was quarterback. 39 quarterback sweep. Y'all go block. I'm going around this corner.
You play QB?
This is very important. No, you didn't.
Oh.
Did Jeff play college football? Yes, I did. And I was that close to the NFL.
To the NFL.
How close were you to starting?
I was that close. At Abilene Christian?
Yes.
Let me tell you this. Okay.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Okay, right.
First year, red shirt, right?
Yeah.
Obviously not playing. Third semester, starting in spring ball.
Right.
Only question is, will Jarrell Badon get the SAT scores he needs to get into school? And if he does, your boy ain't starting. I'm pretty sure that he did get the
Jarrell
grades.
Badon.
And I'm pretty sure that he broke every school record for receiving. And so I probably wouldn't have started. But maybe I would have found my way into the starting lineup at some point over those 4 years, just not in his spot. But anyway, I am the greatest Abilene Christian University wide receiver to never record an official statistic.
My name is Jeff.
What a drop.
I flunked out after the third. 3 semesters.
So not only were we not close to the NFL, we weren't even close to starting.
I was close.
Fourth and
I'm
gone?
talking about during the fall.
Fourth and gone?
I was starting during the spring, kind of.
That don't count.
This is getting bigger as you talk.
Starting in practice.
I don't have to do this one for how close in college.
That's
it was
fair.
more like
starting in practice and starting the game is a little different.
what were you? Where were you running 39 sweep in middle school?
Listen,
The Schulenberg. You have some respect for the Schulenberg
I did not
Flash.
say you didn't have a college scholarship and wasn't signed to go play. We're just being factual for a second.
Don't call it a scholarship. Coming up next on the DLLS Cowboys podcast, the great Moose Johnston is going to sit down with us, and we're going to beg him to become the GM of the Cowboys. That is next. But first, let's get you signed up to be a diehard. We got a Radio Row deal going on. What is it? So normally it's like $80. Right now it's $48.
It's fantastic.
That's like 40% off, give or take.
Yeah,
I can't be held legally accountable for these numbers because I don't do math great. But that's a hefty discount.
Go check it out.
And when you sign up to be a diehard at alldlls.com, you get the hookup, man. You get a free T-shirt from our merch selection, and our merch selection is badass. You get a 20% discount on all other merch that you might want to get, 20% discount on events that we have. You get access to our Discord lounge where we hang out and talk about all sorts of things. I'm still working on getting a feet section in the diehard lounge.
You can do this
on Discord.
You have the power.
Oh, could I just create one?
I think you can
that
just create
says
one.
Feet.
Foots.
And then I'll just put a picture of my left foot in there and just see how it goes.
Yep, and then we'll do a foot train.
But it's a cool place to hang out. It's just a bunch of, diehards of DFW sports teams, and we're all hanging out in there, and we have a nice little community that we're building, and we're happy to those of you that are a part of it, and anybody who's not, we sure would love you to come be a part of it. Sign up to be a diehard. It's at alldlls.com. You get access to all of our premium written content, ad-free experience on the website, the Discord thing, get you a carrying card that says you're a diehard. That's badass. Maybe we'll make some shirts about how good all the GMs of DFW sports teams are, and we could really push those. No? We can maybe it'll be like a worst GM in sports, and then Jerry's name will be on there, Nico's name will be on there, and you can pick which color scheme you want and which box is checked, and we could do that. It'll be wonderful.
Chris Young, shout out to you, man. Jim Nill, shout out to you.
Chris Young, find a closer, dude.
Yeah, sorry, put him on the shirt.
You're on the shirt.
You're on the shirt now.
I don't have enough Stars knowledge to know, but I think they're usually pretty good, right?
They made some trades.
Their GM's fine.
They made some trades.
John will tell us. Hey, does the Stars GM suck? No?
No, he's good.
Congrats. You're the best GM in DFW. You won. All right. We got about 12, 13 minutes left out here, and we are awaiting the arrival of Daryl Moose Johnston, who I would, sight unseen, let him be the GM of the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if him playing fullback would make him want to, bring back the I formation or the wing T.
He would draft Ashton Jeanty.
But, and then he would draft whatever. Is there a fullback in college football?
Jeanty Scatabo, 1-2.
Do you think Scatabo's willing to do the dirty work?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's a dirty work guy.
I think
he's a Sac State guy.
I think he wants the ball. I don't think he's here to block for you. I think he'd be like, why aren't I getting the ball? I'm better than him.
Yeah, he might throw.
But, yeah, I would take Moose. No doubt. Easy. Hey!
How you doing? Welcome.
Let's see if we get the camera set up for this.
Camera's good. Everything's good.
Is your audio good?
It's amazing that it's just like 35 millimeter cameras instead of those big handheld things that used to be around.
I know.
Is that what those cameras are? You know the numbers and what the cameras are called?
Yeah, my little brother's a photographer, so
that's
badass. Just a little 35 millimeter. Yeah. That they get. Well, he was one. He was doing something one time, and I'm like, "What is that? What are you filming that with?" He goes, "It's just a Steadicam," and it was just his 35 millimeter camera in a little thing that had a gyroscope on it that kept it steady. And this is like 15 years ago, so he was like kind of ahead of the curve on a lot of the different stuff that was coming out in the industry because he worked it. It was crazy. I mean, that thing used to cost like $80,000. He goes, that was like $1,500 for the Steadicam stand.
Right.
That's wild.
And then over there, they had just like a little clip for a microphone. Instead of putting it in your pocket, running it up, and tucking it in your shirt, it was just a little clip on.
Sometimes we use phones for stuff too. And I mean,
right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's kind of usable.
It's kind of usable, yeah.
Exactly.
Everybody's got those little tiny ones now where if you don't have your actual mic, you just have the little tiny things.
Really?
They work.
Yeah.
Little
Usable.
Bluetooth, just little tiny Bluetooth mics that, if we were not seated here when we were able to talk to you and we weren't on the air, we'd have probably just been with the little tiny
passing it back and forth.
Beep, 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 beep. By the way, if you are not familiar, shame on you. Welcome to the broadcast, 3-time Super Bowl champion, Daryl Moose Johnston. Thank you. It's good to see you.
Great to see you guys.
Mm-hmm. You were done right. He was probably done right before you got here, huh?
He was done.
No, we crossed over.
No, you crossed.
I covered it. Yeah.
Right. You came right after they finished winning.
Yes, I came after they finished winning. I got the retirements of Moose, Troy, Emmett, Michael.
Yeah. He got the next chapter.
We think he's the curse.
We think he might be the problem.
He's the problem. He's the only common denominator.
me and Jerry. But Moose, Director of Player Personnel with UFL.
Executive Vice President.
Executive Vice President of UFL. Pick all the players. We want you to be the Cowboys GM. How about that?
Will McClay is a great guy. I talk to him all the time.
He's not the GM, Moose.
In my eyes, he is. Will does a great job. There was how we long through this out this year, and it's like one of those ones you got to go back. Nobody has drafted more Pro Bowl players over the last 10 years than the Dallas Cowboys. Mm-hmm. So it's not the talent. It's the bringing together of everything, and that was the greatness of Jimmy Johnson. That was just, and you throw culture around. It's a word that's easy to throw around. Okay, how do you build that? How do you create that? And that's where I think that Dallas has to get a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. With because I'm just thinking about like their draft history. Normally they're really good at this. The Cowboys are really good at this, and the last couple of years, not so much. And when you're not really a big free agency team or a big trade team, that hurts so bad.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, now you have experience of being a general manager. How part of it's a crapshoot, but it's like, how do you avoid those misses? I feel like with the Cowboys, my theory is when they pick the best player, they do well. When they go chase something they think they need, they do poorly. And I'm just trying to find a way to get them the better players again.
Yeah, that's true in a lot of draft rooms. Staying true to the board. I mean, there's that great story when, is Dallas is getting ready to pick, Johnny Manziel still on the board, and they had Zack Martin as the guy that should go because he's the best player available. And if you go away from your board, you usually get bit because you've spent a lot of time creating that board. So why in the moment of testing out how good you guys are as a group at evaluating, would you step away from that and chase something? Exactly what you said. So I don't know if there's truth to it, but supposedly that name is going up and it's Johnny Manziel, and Stephen Jones stops and takes it out and puts Zack Martin into it and says we are staying true to our board and our process, and the rest is history from that draft. But I think it's an inexact science. I think we see it all the time. I mean, you could go back to this year, right? What does Chicago feel that they missed on Caleb Williams and should have taken Jaden Daniels? Did Carolina, should they have taken C.J. Stroud instead of Bryce last year? Mm-hmm. But does that have more to do about the culture that's inside that building? Does that have more to do about everything? Would Bryce have done better in Houston, and would C.J. have struggled in Carolina? I think you're probably more apt to see that. Sam Darnold, I mean, he's a bust. He's in New York, toxic organization. He goes to Carolina, toxic organization. Goes to Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell, who's amazing and has a great year. Shocking? No, not really. Mm-hmm. So it's all about where you are, who the coaches are. I think sometimes players are afforded the opportunity to reach the level that you thought they were going to, and some are prevented from reaching that level because of the offense that's in place, the coaching that's in place. Just because you're a great coach, or just because you're a coach in the NFL doesn't mean you're a great coach in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And that's, we have the saying, somewhere in the world is the world's worst doctor, and there are people in his waiting room.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned culture multiple times now, and the guy that's tasked with creating a new culture with the Cowboys is Brian Schottenheimer. One, what do you know about Brian Schottenheimer, and how much of a challenge is that going to be with the Cowboys specifically to try and create that culture, especially when you got a guy that was in the last regime as well?
I know Brian probably better personally than professionally.
Mm-hmm.
We've bumped into each other several times, in areas outside of the football world. And he's an awesome guy. His dad was one of my favorite coaches. And then I've also seen Brian, in the professional role at his time in Seattle and different places around the NFL. So I really like him, and he comes from a great football family. I think that, it's hard for him because he starts off with a lot of negativity surrounding him just because of the circumstances of the hire. Mm-hmm. And that's not fair on Brian. I think he's done a good job so far with some of the hires. I do like the Eberflus hire. The offensive coordinator, I think we'll have to wait and see on that. The one hesitation I have is you're looking for run game, but you want a guy that worked in Arizona, most recently that has Kyler Murray. How do we transition that to Dallas? With Scotty Montgomery in Detroit, maybe been a better hire with a more traditional run game. But then you have a Jahmyr Gibbs and a David Montgomery combo. So you're going to have pluses and minuses on either side. But you can tell right now he's going to be committed to a little bit of old school style offense, which I'm a huge fan of. So we've seen the resurgence of the running back over the last 18 months with what we've seen with Saquon, with Derrick Henry, with Josh Jacobs. That is it was an undervalued position, and it seems to be trending back to a more appreciated position. And there's a pretty good guy out there in the draft right now that would fit that need for Dallas.
Genty.
We've been kind of pushing the Genty.
Yeah.
I have at least.
Your buddy Chor went viral a little bit talking about the coveted coaching position and how it's kind of not coveted in Dallas because of how they run things and certainly how Jerry's run things, the process. Schotty's getting dirty because of the process and not looking at a Ben Johnson, not looking at Aaron Glenn, and just having a small process. How much has Jerry and the way he does business kind of taken away from the stature of the Cowboys?
Yeah, that's for the people on the inside to be able to comment on. Yeah, we get to look at things from the outside and create opinion or perspective, but we don't know the truth. So it's really kind of hard for us to do that. The one thing I will say is that there is a perception from the outside that if you come in, you won't have full authority to do things your way. And I always remember Jimmy Johnson, after our first regular season game, after going through a successful preseason and getting just worked in New Orleans 28-0. Jimmy did things the way he thought they should be done because it was the NFL, and he let us know loud and clear that week that we were going to start doing the way he believed things should be done, what he had done before. And he challenged us to get ready to work. And he said, if I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail my way. Right. And I don't think that anybody has that feel if they come to Dallas, that they'll come here and if they're not successful, it'll be because they were forced to do things in a different way. And I don't know if anybody really wants to come in and do that. And that's just perspective from the outside looking in because of everything that we hear about that.
But you were on the inside, 3-time Super Bowl champion, so you know Jimmy's way. How frustrating, how shocking, surprising, whatever you want to call it, that it's been 30 years, 30-year anniversary coming up of the last Super Bowl title team in 1995.
It's unbelievable. The next closest team in the NFC is Chicago at 14 years. Right. I mean, that's twice as long. It's crazy, being on that run early on and then, being in such a dry spell. Everybody's talking about the shock from the Luka trade. How about when Jimmy walked after 2 Super Bowls?
Right.
To me, that's bigger. That's Jimmy had never really been anywhere for longer than 5 years. I don't know if that's just part of what Jimmy did. He was in Oklahoma State for 5. He was in the University of Miami for 5. He was in Dallas for 5. He stayed a little bit longer in Miami, but I think that was more to transition Dave Wannstedt into that spot. So does he get burnt out? Is he so committed and just so all in on everything that he kind of gets burned out a little bit? But to me, to walk away from a chance in history that Kansas City has this week, we had that.
Right.
And our head coach left. Could you imagine if Andy Reid would have left last year? We're on the cusp of history, but you know what? I'm going to step away. That was a bitter pill because everybody wants to be the first to do something.
Right.
And to think back and go, God, how challenging was it that Jimmy walked away from an opportunity at history with a pretty good roster in place to do that?
That is wild. Moose Johnston with us. Anything you want to throw out there about the UFL? That's still what you're rocking with.
Yeah,
you're kicking ass and taking names in the
Cowboys
UFL.
like players from the UFL.
I know, right? They've been the best at it, right? They've done a really good job at looking at guys in our league. To see where we are right now, I mean, to be in Arlington last week and announce our headquarters being in Arlington, and reflect back on the journey from where we were year one, Legacy USFL. We're in a hotel in Birmingham, Alabama that was shuttered during the COVID pandemic, and we are going to be the first tenant, and they're going to use us as kind of guinea pigs to get that thing up and running. Our meeting room space, just everything. It was so challenging logistically, And just the way that our coaches and our players believed in our vision, trusted us in moving forward, and then to be sitting there that day in a 110,000 plus square foot office building that's going to house all 8 of our teams, all the support staff, all the players, to have the relationship with Rev and Sean Decker and the group that's out there, to give us that opportunity, it's unbelievable. Last year was great because we had the merger and we went from 16 teams down to 8 teams. And so the talent level is going to be much higher for those 8 teams. So during onboarding, just watching all the teams walk in and you're like, oh my God, we're like legit right now. I mean, that is a legit offensive line group that's walking in. This year, to be able to kind of get into that same position where, we're legit again, and I can't wait to see their faces. Because a lot of these guys have been with us for 3 years, and they've gone through this process with us. So there's several of them that I'm going to have my eyes on their eyes when they walk in and just be like, wow, wow, this is awesome. So that's the best thing is for us as a league to be able to provide an experience that really does feel professional for our guys. And we took a huge step this year to be able to do that. And the Brandon Aubreys and the Cavante Turpins, I mean, those guys are going to be always huge advocates for us in what we're doing. But we had a couple guys last year where we got into the defensive line, which was really cool. We had DeAndre Tillman out in Denver. We had Jalen Redmond up in Minnesota, won a starting job in December on a 14-3 team. And everybody always says, well, how are you guys going to do that? How are they going to play 10 games, maybe 12 games, and then roll right into an NFL training camp and an NFL season that's 18 weeks and 17 games long? And here's one of our guys winning the starting spot, after 25 weeks of football. In a training camp. So, that was really huge for us last year is really getting some guys outside that specialist arena to really make a name for themselves in the NFL.
Yeah, here in Dallas, too, Josh Butler was a guy that was in the spring leagues and stuff, too, and then he ended up coming up and making plays.
Steve Kaiser yells at me all the time. He goes, hey, don't forget, I found Josh Butler, too. And he's like,
yeah, he was fantastic this year for the Cowboys. It's cool because your place is where a lot of stories get sparked out, right, where they ended up then going to the NFL. So I think it's been awesome.
Yeah, and then we've got a handful of guys this year, and 2020 to 2023 was a tough time for a lot of guys with the pandemic and a lot of stuff that was going on. So we got some guys that are coming in, and one of the things that I'm real proud of is we make our own decisions. So if we've got a guy that has a character issue in his background and he's put forward by our general managers, we put a big pause on him, and then we dig into the whole thing. And so we've got a couple of guys coming into our league this year that have a little bit of baggage on them, and we've had some really, really good conversations with them and letting them know, there is nobody bigger than the league itself, and you don't have a strike. You have no room for error. This is not baseball. One strike and you're out. And we got a couple of guys that are trying to change their lives, and hopefully we got some really cool stories to tell at the end of this season.
Moose, you are the best, and we appreciate your valuable time today. Thank you.
Yeah. Enjoy the week.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, man.
Let's do it.
All right, take care.
All right, DLLS Cowboys squad. We will be back here tomorrow, and remember, you have no idea what anybody's going through, so be cool to everyone. We love you. Be easy.
Thank you.
We all silly like the mayor.